Number 2, Michigan is 22-point favorites against Iowa, number 16 in the Big Ten championship game with the over-under of 34.5. Michigan is at it again. They're at Indy for the third year in the row with a chance for another three-peat as they face off in the championship game against another common opponent in Iowa. While they didn't play them this year, they did find them in the championship game. Now, while the chances of Iowa upsetting Michigan is rare, it certainly is not impossible. I'm really curious on how Iowa fans are actually feeling going into this game. I usually would say something like, well, Michigan can't look past this team and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, the thing that I would worry about the most with the Wolverines outside of injuries is for them going into this game on autopilot, not necessarily looking beyond it, but just going in and playing on autopilot. We saw them do that a couple times this season against weaker opponents, and they came out flat. But honestly, I don't really see them doing that in this game because it is the championship game, and it actually is going to be the first game with them having Jim Harbaugh back on the sidelines. So I really doubt that that's going to be the case tonight. So for Iowa to have a shot against Michigan, a lot has to go their way. Iowa's averaging 18 points per game. Yes, 18 points per game. There has only been one game this season that Iowa has scored more than 26 points, and that was against Western Michigan. On the other side, Michigan has only scored less than 26 points once this season, and that was on the road against Penn State. Yes, Iowa does have a stout defense, but they really haven't faced a high caliber offense like Michigan this year. The closest comparable may have been Penn State, that Penn State game that they lost 31-0. For Iowa to upset Michigan, I think it's fair to say that they would have to score 24 plus points for a chance to beat Michigan. And on the other side, Michigan would have to be held to their lowest point total for the entire season. I don't see one, let alone both of those happening tonight. While Michigan does like to get creative in these championship games, as we've seen the 2 years prior, I don't know that we'll see Edwards do his normal pass downfield, especially what we saw in 2021, specifically because we saw him do it last week against OSU. I do think there might be an opportunity for him to do a trick play if Michigan digs deep into their bag of tricks. This play would be very unique in my opinion, and I think work really well for JJ. So I would be super stoked to see them use this tonight. I don't even know if it's on their radar, but it is something from Michigan's past, which would be really fun to see them use. I know last week we saw Orgy take a couple snaps. Honestly, I would anticipate that Michigan might hold on to that for later games coming up in the future. So he might not be as active in this championship game, or they might go to that more often than we anticipate. But there is one player, because he was not very active against OSU, that I fully anticipate that we'll see more of tonight, and that's Samaj Morgan. He is fast and able to do a lot, so I definitely anticipate to see him on the field and that he gets a touchdown tonight against Iowa. I think after the tense game last week that Michigan still rolls tonight against Iowa. I'm not sure if it'll be quite the blowout that we saw in the second half when they played Iowa in 2021, but I think it's going to be a steady game for Michigan and that Iowa's just going to struggle to get down the field for scoring opportunities. We saw JJ have a great performance last year at Iowa, so on a stage like this, I don't think that he's going to have a problem. Don't be surprised if Iowa does try to shake it up, though, because they honestly have nothing to lose. What does it say if they lose this game? Really, there is no effect. If they win this game, it would be everything for them. So if they do have any tricks in their bag, expect them to possibly pull that out for this game. I have a low scoring affair for Iowa. I know, crazy. And then Michigan having a steady game throughout the day and having maybe some chunk plays here and there, but it might not be super flashy. Who knows? Maybe that's what Michigan is going to go for tonight. But I do have a final score then of Michigan 34, Iowa 6. Well, that's it, folks. If you're going to the game, I hope you have an awesome time. Cheer on those Wolverines. We will be reconnecting next week for the review episode and just excited to watch the game tonight. Hope you all have a good one. And until then, go blue.